How would you solve this? Okay, let me tell you, this just cannot be fixed by doing any alteration to the network or traffic manager trickery. It is a traffic issue you are watching here, not a bad junction. Well, yes, the junction was not ideal either, but we will get back to this. But the main point of this video is to enable you to spot the difference between fixing a bad junction and fixing your city's traffic. Hello peeps, Drugger here with some deep analysis today that more or less came up by accident. First, let's get out of the way why this junction cannot be fixed. You see, I tried and replaced the entire setup with this solution, which turned out like this. Why would this be the superior solution for this junction? Because it basically is a mini free-flowing interchange where no one has to cross or interfere with other traffic. I see the question marks in your eyes, but let me drive this point home. What makes a junction slow down traffic? Well, it is a point at which a vehicle can pick their direction of travel, and this can cause the path of one vehicle to cross the path of another. So either one has to wait until it can continue on its travel. Let us make up an interference counter for junctions. Rules are as follows. For every direction from which a vehicle could come onto the junction, we count how many possible passes this vehicle could cross or interfere with. We are not counting U-turns because if we would have to factor that in, then something else must have gone horribly wrong in the first place. Let's start with a three-way Y intersection. So we have to multiply our counter by 3 to cover all directions of entry. If a vehicle came from the bottom and would go right, it would make vehicles coming from the top left which want to perform a left turn wait. So this increases the counter by 1. Now it could also attempt to go left, which in turn would interfere with vehicles coming from the top right, which wanted to make a right turn. This increases the counter to 2 for the bottom direction. There are no more options, so we take our counter of 2, multiply by all possible entries 3, and get an interference score of 6 for this junction. Let's look at a crossing. Coming from any direction and taking a right turn would bring the counter up by 2 directions it interfered with. Going straight, another 2, going left, another 2. So 6 times 4 brings the interference counter for a crossing up to 24. I'm lazy, so I'm not going to work out what the counter for this intersection is, but if you feel like you want to figure that out, then please tell me in the comments. So the lower the counter, the better. And 0 interference for a junction would pretty much be free-flowing traffic without any interruptions. That would be a straight. Or an interchange. So back to our junction. Basically the new intersection I built here is a mini interchange, meaning there is no better solution. The lower area going underground is connected here. From this upper level to the lower level we are using this junction to pass traffic through, but in a straight line. So no additional interferences either. Well, besides switching into the correct lane, but we are not accounting for that. So if this is the best that could be, and it still is not working, then we are having a traffic problem, not a junction problem. Another indicator for this is, for example, this cargo rail station. Originally, it didn't have this shortcut. This station was supposed to serve this area and those warehouses on the lower ground. Now, even dedicating the station to supply this area does not work because it clearly is overwhelmed. Trucks are crawling back and forth and that clearly does not work out, meaning we would need at least 2 stations and then also make sure they share the traffic load. Now this is a clear sign because you cannot balance such loads equally, as we just lack the control over that. Also, let me quickly throw something in here to prevent you from making another rookie mistake. The idea of adding more lanes would contribute to solving traffic issues. Well, this kinda works in real life because more lanes mean more space, so in a traffic jam more vehicles can crawl or park in parallel on a mile. But in Cities Skylines, all vehicles will stick to the one lane that brings them to their destination. So the only way making them use multiple lanes is to make each lane lead to a different destination, which is why 3-way intersections with 4-lane roads work so well because it automatically gives them dedicated lanes for each direction. Now, everything started with a look at a single junction, and now we are talking about insufficient throughput. This is roughly where we need to draw the line between fixing a junction and thinking about the macro of traffic as a somewhat more holistic thing that actually spans over the entire city. Okay, this is an older save from before I decided to redo Dragon's industry. This older industry was not as efficient as it could be because of the shortest route fallacy. You see, in Cities Skylines, the assumption is that vehicles take the shortest route to their destination. And by shortest route, we are talking about the time it takes to deliver stuff from one point to another. So this fire truck takes into account that the highway's travel speed is higher, thus it will arrive at the destination faster. But what is not discussed enough in the community is that also the selection of destination or origin also follows the shortest distance rule. Meaning if a fire occurs here, then the fire truck will come from this station, not this station, even though it would be closer, because it is closer distance-wise to the fire as the crow flies. And this caused a bunch of, let's call it, unnecessary traffic. For example, this station attracting traffic from this area even though it was meant to be the station to handle imports and exports of these storage units. Or this station attracting way too much traffic for it was meant to serve. Anyway, before we switch back to the new design, I want you to pay close attention to this railway section. As we can see, most of the cargo traffic is heading north to supply the city, only occasionally being interrupted by trains coming from the cargo hub. Notice the frequency those trains are crossing the bridge? This frequency is required to keep the city supplied. Actually, it will even increase on the northern bridge as soon as we start expanding the city to the other side of the river. So the proximity thing is the main issue we want to eliminate. So instead of trying to fix the traffic flow within and between a few areas like in the old industry, we are now using the game mechanics to create a cell-based pattern which keeps traffic manageable and mostly within the cells, and by this reducing industry traffic overall. Now back to our problem. Because this area with all the service points is attracting a load of stuff, also a lot of trains are heading south now to deliver to the area. In order to get there, the old rail network here requires those trains to cross other tracks, causing a lot of interferences, which then in turn are lowering the frequency of trains coming over those bridges. We know that frequency was required to keep the city supplied. This means with 100% certainty we are having a traffic problem, meaning we need to rethink the city's supply on a systemic level, and no alteration on a single junction will fix that. So if you're having issues with a crowded junction not performing, I want you to more often lean back, look at where stuff is coming from and where it wants to go to, and figure out, could this even work? Even if I would replace all the intersections with zero interference solutions, or does my city have a general traffic problem caused by insufficient, or in this case, incorrect connectivity? See, the main issue I see most beginners do wrong is a setup like this. Oh, there is so much traffic. This junction needs to be fixed. Biffer, can you help me out? Instead of zooming out and looking at what you have going on there and figuring out that you basically created a big funnel that is, and will in any case, be too small to handle the load. In this instance, offer alternative passes, increase walkability and the likes, and soon your traffic will look more like this. By putting those service points all in one spot, I created kind of the same situation. I just forgot that they were representing the entire island. So about 20,000 people and a big commercial area with a constant hunger for goods to sell. In freaking no known universe this is ever going to work out. So hopefully you are now armed with the knowledge to distinguish between a bad junction and a more systemic traffic problem. I mean, both issues show kind of the same symptoms, but require an entirely different approach to solve them. Obviously you enjoyed your stay, so I'd appreciate a thumbs up. And if you are interested how all these and many more issues were solved, you could either go and watch all the live streams or wait for the summary of the project, including my thought processes and best practice solutions in a separate video. Thanks for watching, catch you next time, bye!